Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you with another video. All right, um, so the main guys, Skip and Shannon, were talking about a Dame Lillard conversation where Dame essentially was asking, uh, at what point do you no longer put your competitive nature out front um, when you're no longer playing for an opportunity to make the playoffs? And they're essentially saying their opinion is, you only want to load manage if you're injured. If you're not injured, play the season out. But I think for me, it's like when you're talking about the NBA, there's more to look at. There's more to look at. Development of other players and how that carries over in the next season. Injuries, possibilities, and how that carries over in the next season. You got to look at his contract. He's making $61 million a year starting this year. If you can get him out of this season healthy, cha-ching. If you're not playing for playoffs, that's a playoff performer. He's a clutch player. Clutch in a sense that he's going to do things down the stretch of basketball games going to help you win series. So where he's made his money on. If he's not playing for the playoffs, you just have him running around out there. And if you're having him run around out there, that's more so for what Shannon's considering is like symbolic. If you see it through. But I mean, what if what he's looking at is not the bigger picture? Seeing it through is seeing the entire contract through, and that's making sure you're healthy. That means getting enough rest in the offseason and then starting your ramp up in the offseason in regards to your conditioning so that you can be in tip-top shape next season. Guys shouldn't be playing 82 games to begin with, in my humble opinion. Dame has already had many seasons where he's finished the season hurt with serious injury, including, I think, 2 seasons ago where he was dealing with a very serious injury in his groin. It kept him out for like a billion games. So for him, with his injury history, his age on the line, given the fact he's like 33 years old, if he's not playing for anything, then he shouldn't be playing for anything. He should be out while they develop their younger players like Shaedon Sharpe and Kevin Knox and several other guys that need looks. Cam Reddish. They need to let those guys get those looks. See if those guys are people they want to keep, which I think they definitely do. Get more looks for Nasir Little. Get more looks for Anthony Simons. These are the type of things that you want to see. These are players that are still ascending, have upside. Running Dame Lillard, there's no upside there. He's headed the other way in his trajectory, and he's taking up more than 40% of the entire cap. So no, you do not want him running around there for rah-rah reasons when there's no reason mathematically to send him out there. He represents too much for the Portland Trailblazers. You got to look at that outside of the, pride. That stuff is low frequency when you're talking about a player's health and how much he represents in regards to your business. Hell no, you don't send him out there for meaningless basketball. Absolutely not. Now, I'm the same guy that says, make sure you're on the floor for the guy who spent $8,000 who wants to see you on the floor in Brooklyn at random. That's a thing. That's a thing, right? But you have to assess the player's situation versus what it is that you're trying to guard against. In that case, what I was referring to is a game that's much sooner into the playoff. You're still much sooner into the season. This is a game we're talking about probably like March, February, January, where you want to make sure that you're there in a game in Brooklyn, as to which I was referring to back-to-backs and how the schedule makers often put teams in bad situations where certain players are expected to miss back-to-backs just off of the strength of who they are. So why would you put those players in positions to have ABC games that they won't play in? So my thing is, you're doing yourself no favors. But as it pertains to this type of situation where there's only 10 games left and you're mathematically out of it or about to be, and you're trying to figure out whether or not it makes sense to continue to compete, no, it don't make no sense. No, because there's so much to benefit from you not being down there if you're Dame Lillard. For one, it helps your health. For two, it gets more guys other looks, the minutes that they need to develop players that need to be playing. It gets them real-time looks. You know what I mean? So he can sit down, rest his aching body, because nobody's 100% 11 years in. Rest his aching body and get ready for the ramp up of his offseason. A healthy offseason where he'll be able to really put in some work on his conditioning, which I expect Dame Lillard to continue the process of doing since he's healthy for a change in the offseason. So that's what you don't want if you're a player like him. You don't want to risk the possibility of having an entire offseason where you're hurt, fam. Non-athletes, may not see that for whatever reason. I do, but like they may not see that, man. Guys do not want to spend the months they supposed to be in Tulum nursing an injury or dealing with surgery if they don't have to. The way I see it is Dame Lillard just cashed in $61 million this season and is on the verge of being able to exit the season healthy. That's a win for him. And judging by the fact that he's signed $61 million contract, he's out for him. Let's just be real. He ain't going, he's going to give it his all until it no longer makes any sense to do so. And then he's going to ask everybody what they think, which I think is a valiant thing to do, rather than just saying, you know what, I'm done and peace out. He's leaving it up to us to feedback. So this is what I'm doing. I'm saying, this is what I see there. I don't really have an opinion. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, I don't know what's right. I really don't. I think it would have to, I would need more information in regards to what the scientists are saying about how much risk it actually is for him to play these extra games, for him specifically. How many of these minutes will actually go to these young players, and if they truly have plans of benefiting themselves, to develop these players, and if they're going to look to develop these guys at this time. Are they actually mathematically out of it? And would he be doing this beforehand? All these things have to be taken into account. I just don't have information on. So for me, it's like, do I think he should shut it down if it makes absolutely no sense for him to play basketball anymore? Of course. I think that's the whole point. If it makes no sense to play, then you need to stop playing. But what makes it make sense? And for me, it ain't as simple as saying, well, we're mathematically out of it. It's more to look at that would cater to why he should be sitting, including his own health and development of other players. And that's where it is for me. That's what I see there. So, yeah, man, I don't know. For Dame and the Portland Trailblazers, they also stand to benefit from their own pick if they have it. Not certain of their situation, but I'm just assuming they do have their pick. Maybe they get lucky if they continue to lose basketball games. It increases the opportunity they have to maybe increase the value of that pick, which is always a good thing when you're looking at the type of talent that's coming up in this particular draft. Maybe shutting Dame down could be the difference between getting the 15th pick and the 19th pick. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I have no idea, but it would probably be in the lottery if they didn't make the play-in tournament. So you get the point. It could be the difference between having a really nice lottery pick and maybe having a further down lottery pick. So I think that's worth it. That's worth it when you consider everything else they're looking at mathematically out of it, and Dame having the issues with the injuries. Like, why not shut him down for the final 10 games? Showcase these guys that are really exciting to watch on the Portland Trailblazers. It's not just like you're going to be running players that can't perform so that you're leaving a bad product on the floor for your fans. They're going to enjoy watching Shaedon Sharpe and Grant and those guys fly all over the place. They're not going to miss Dame that much. And they'll be happy he's healthy. See, I'm telling you, that's what it really comes down to. 11 years in, however many years it's been, he don't need to be thinking about nothing other than the playoffs. And if the Portland Trailblazers are not in the playoffs, then he needs to be sitting down. It's the same thing I feel about LeBron James. I don't want LeBron James playing a single basketball game for the Lakers if we're mathematically out of it. No rah-rah, man. We don't need a rah-rah. We need intellect. And intellect is exited the season healthy. Healthy, that's intellect. That's smart. Not satisfying the rah-rah, do it for principle, do it. No, man. The example you want to show is how to evolve. Not doing things for emotional reasons, but to evolve, to show children that, you can calculate certain things and mathematically make an educated decision on whether or not it makes sense to risk anything. You don't have to go off on the limb of some grandpa's old get out of bed and do it mentality. No, not if it don't make sense for what it is that you are accustomed to being responsible for. You got to look at your situation. If Dame was making $1 million, probably got a different point of view because he doesn't eat up that much of the cap. You know what I mean? It's not as important that they develop young players because more of their role players are of cachet and on contract. So those guys wouldn't be getting the minutes anyway. You see what I'm saying? This is a team that because they have a lot of players in different contracts, but also a lot of young players that need to play, that probably don't get their shots because Dame's on the floor. His situation is custom for the team to be better if he's removed for what it is that they're going to need to do in regards to developing the players. See, custom for him. If he's somebody else, different circumstance, then we look at it and say, well, no, you probably should play and finish the season. You know what I mean? There are very specific circumstances to why his situation is different than, say, somebody else's in the same situation. You understand what I'm saying? So that's how I believe we should look at this. And with him eating up $61 million worth of cap, hell yeah. Portland Trail Blazers need to sneak every opportunity to keep him healthy and playing meaningful playoff basketball. That's it. That is all that is worth. That contract is worth nothing if it's not in the playoffs. I'm just being honest with you. His regular season Dame Lillard $61 million is a ridiculous thing. It's ridiculous. You got to make the playoffs. So while they're mathematically in it, he definitely needs to play. While they still have the puncher's chance, they need to be punching. $61 million, you better be out there shooting all the threes and making them too. So that's my opinion in regards to whether or not if they're mathematically in it. Of course, you keep their competitive edge, your competitive nature. Of course, until it's over. And then when it's over, it's over. That's it. So that's what I think of that, man. For that situation, yes, rest him. Rest him, play Shaden, play Cam. Let them get about 15 shots apiece a game. And your team will be better for it. You just raise the overall value of everybody on the team. You already know what Dame's going to do. And if he's not doing it for the playoffs, he's doing it for nothing. So that's it. That is all. BDL44. Thank you all for watching. Out.